Russia, and from the perspective of Russia's future and Russia's eventual disintegration, the greatness of Russia was mentioned in the previous panel as one thing that paralyzes Western academicians and policymakers in thinking about Russia. But it also is the source of this pathological Russian feeling of greatness. They are great because they have great territory. So it's, from this perspective, it's very, I think, very important to speak about Arctic region. Now we here in Denmark have also this specific reason on this cartoon. I think that the orange guy is right when he's thinking about various islands, but there are much better islands than Greenland to think about when it comes to the future. Now, the Muscovy was not always Arctic country. They became Arctic country only after invasion to Nizhny Novgorod and basically genocide of the population of Nizhny Novgorod in 16th century. As you know, Nizhny Novgorod was the city of Hanseatic League, of easternmost outpost of the Western civilization in that region, and then gradually they expanded. And now some basic demography and geography of the Russian Arctic. There is around half of the territory of Russia is north of 60th parallel. That means north of Helsinki. Half of the territory. But it is extremely sparsely populated territory, and it is a territory which was originally inhabited by dozens of various nations. Those nations eventually became minorities in their own home. This is the ethnic map, original ethnic map of northern Eurasia. Two-thirds actually, two-thirds of Russia's area are considered Arctic region, and only 8% of population live there. But of those 8%, majority are now non-original people who were brought there, many of them Russian, but not only ethnic Russians, but they are perceived as Russians now, many of those. Systemic Russification of those territories went through the gulags and rapid urbanization aimed at extraction of mineral resources. Here are some examples. So in 1926, in Komi, Republic Komi, lived 92% of native people, Komi people. They are now 22, and Russians grew from 7% to 70%. In Karelia, similar in Chukotka, Sakha, you see the Magadan Oblast, which is a large piece of territory in the Russian Far East, had in 1926, 6,000 people lived there. And then the Gulag expanded to the territory. Hundreds of thousands of laborers, prisoners were brought there, and the population grew to 385,000. So inevitably, the local population became a tiny minority. Now, Danes may know, but do you know how big part of Greenland's population are Danes, ethnic Danes, and how big part of Greenland's population are native Greenlanders?
70% native.
88% are native. 88% are native. Yeah, so it's a quite very different approach. Rapid and systematic Russification of those territories is simply...
And kind of settler colonialism
was the approach?
Yeah. Now, in the recent times, after the fall of communism, these territories, which were violently populated, are now rapidly depopulating. And here you see that, for instance, population of Murmansk Oblast dropped within from 2010 to 2021, so in 11 years, by 16%. In Komi Republic, which I mentioned, by 18%. In Chukotka, 8, Magadan, 15%. These are dropped within 10 years. Again, in case of Denmark, it would mean like a drop of population from current 6 million to less than 5 million in 10 years. It's a demographic disaster which is happening there. And it is a result of the economic development, obviously. The people are out-migrating from those, so they were pushed there through the governmental policies, Stalinistic and later, and now they are retreating from those territories, so they are becoming even emptier than they were in the long time. Now, Arctic is, from the responsibility point, the one perspective is responsibility, cultural responsibility for survival of those around 40 different small ethnic groups which are being rapidly Russified and are disappearing. But it is also a springboard of Russian militarism, and on this map we see the various military installations in Russia. And they go all around the Arctic coast. This is something what you can easily find on the Google Maps. This is a port in Severodvinsk, and these are two Typhoon-class submarines, each with 20 silos for ballistic missiles. This is Russian Arctic, symbol of Russian Arctic. This is the purpose of Russia controlling Arctic, is to use it as a threat to the West. Another dimension of responsibility is what is going on there from environmental perspective. Basically, those territories are being misused as a large garbage fills. This is from a book, the pictures are from a book written by one Czechoslovak traveler who traveled there a few years ago in various parts of Russian Arctic, and this is what he seen in many places. It is environmentally devastated region. So, if I want to sum it up, huge Arctic territories of current Russia were systematically Russified at the expense of the native populations, and those native populations are now under threat of their extinction. Their cultures, languages are disappearing. It is a host of military bases, including nuclear facilities, which are a threat to the whole northern hemisphere. They provide the Arctic regions mineral resources that enable Russian militarization, finance it. The fragile ecosystems are being devastated without any concern for the local nature, and the Arctic ecosystems are very vulnerable, that we know. And it feeds Russian megalomania, which is a part of their identity, and is one of the fundamentals of Russian militarism. So, to finish Russia, with Russia as a major global threat to civilization, Russian Empire must be deprived of Arctic territories. It is historical responsibility.